and some coffee. Okay, so maybe you heard or saw the memo, the press release, whatever, from Enve Composites regarding cotton clinchers and their wheels. Essentially, Enve put out a release to say they advise you to not use cotton clinchers on their wheels anymore, specifically talking in road context, as I don't know that cotton clinchers are really a thing on mountain bike. Cotton clinchers, they called out Vittoria because Vittoria tends to be the most popular brand, specifically the Corsa that I have here. I did a review in the past about it, and I'll link to that too. And it seems that Enve is confirming the issues I was having and many people were having with it. To go back to where cotton comes from as a tire carcass material is tubulars. So tubulars, and the reason tubulars are legendary in terms of how supple they are and how good they feel, is historically, specifically in a racing context, they were made with a cotton carcass, and that could work. It wrapped all the way around, and the tube was sewn in there, generally latex in the racing environment. So a really supple, really fast tire, light, and you didn't have the issues of that we're now seeing. Fast forward to Vittoria started offering what they would call an open tubular. And that was just a cotton, they tried to make a tubular out of a clincher. And I used to ride those. I rode them a lot. Specifically the Corsa CX, which was their lightest, super grippy, fast tire. And I only used it on race day. So I didn't put a lot of miles on it. In fact, it was so grippy and such a good tire in that regard. The tread didn't last very long. I remember in one particular race, I had to slam on the brakes and locked up the rear wheel, and that one little skid just decimated and chunked up the whole tire, and it was trash. But they were early to the game in terms of cotton clinch. Back then we were riding, and we pulled this rim up. We were riding a non-tubeless rim. Here's an old rim I pulled out of the garage. This is not tubeless ready. And that's the caveat here. That's the issue that Enve is calling out, and I think we're going to see more companies talking about it because I experienced that very same problem. Real quick, I'll show you. I remounted this tire. There it is. I remounted this tire on. You can see right here. Right, you can see right here. It's bulging out. Right, and I'll get better video of it, but it's bulging out right here. Because the hook of the tubeless ready rim is digging into the cotton. Over time, it starts to sprawl out. So there's a bit of a bulge here. That is very dangerous on a narrow road tire at high speed. If that bead gives out, that could be pretty catastrophic, especially like in a turn, high speed, front wheel, that could be bad. Here's the front of that same wheel set. There's a pretty sharp hook in a tubeless ready rim that allows it to hook in there, and the tube itself can hold itself in there. Whereas when there's a tube in there, the pressure of the tube pushes the bead against where it hooks into a non-tubeless rim. So you don't need as much of a hook in that environment or in that setup. So what's happening is we're starting to put a lot more miles on cotton clinchers because they got better. The tread life got better. The sidewalls got better. And this is a problem we probably would have had back when we were just racing on cotton tires like the Corsa CX. But now that I tried to make this tire a daily driver, it became a problem. And Enve is the first to come out and say, hey, don't run cotton clinchers on your tubeless ready rims. And they're saying they don't recommend it. I don't know if they were calling out voiding warranties and that sort of thing, but it's pretty clear this is a real issue. You're going to have the same problem on, some Compass tires. You're going to have a similar problem on the specialized cotton tires. All again on any tubeless rim with a cotton beaded tire. If you're putting in big miles, eventually the failure point is going to be that tubeless hook bead digging into the sidewall of the tire, and it's going to fail. It could be pretty bad. There is probably some circumstances where you're probably going to be okay with this, and this is emerging, and we haven't seen it yet. But some of your larger volume tires, that you're running tubeless in a kind of road gravel environment, you might be able to get away with that because there's less pressures. On a 25 mil tire, at my weight at 190 pounds, I'm going to run, and this is with modern low pressure setups, I'm going to be running 95 or 100 PSI in the rear, and it can't stand up to that. But with a larger volume, say you're on like a 38 or a 40 millimeter, Compass, I believe, don't quote me on this, has, because I don't really ride those kind of tires, might have some cotton options. And if you're a lighter rider on like a 40 mil tire running tubeless, you might be able to be running 40 PSI, and maybe there's not much of a problem. So right now, Enve is calling out and saying this is a problem on road tires. So you're talking what's a normal road tire now, which is mostly 25 millimeter, emerging to be 28 millimeter. So cotton tires on tubeless ready rims is a bad idea. So I saw this a year ago, or a little over a year ago, when I posted that video, and I ran through 3 whole sets of these tires, and they all eventually did the same thing. The bead started to give out, and that could be really bad. Right, Bello Dog? So he's having a nap back there. So there you go. Rider beware. I know I'm probably going to get shit from people on the YouTube comments saying, "Oh, I got 10,000 miles on my Vittoria Corsa, G plus whatevers." I'm happy for you, but Enve's saying it and I'm saying it's probably not a good idea. It's a bummer because I love the setup. I love how they ride, and even said that in the review of the tires after burning through 3 sets. I love how they ride. I wish it worked out better. So you're probably going to have to go back to your GP 4000s or your GP 5000s.